We're live. Mayor, ready to go.
Call to order. Time is 6:03 p.m. on Wednesday, October 27th, 2021. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll use the flag up here. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins,
Present.
Vice Mayor DeVille,
Here.
Mayor Jacobs.
Here.
We have quorum.
Number 4. Additions, deletions, withdrawals to the agenda.
Mayor, we have a couple of additions.
Okay.
We have, we need to add 14.5, which is elevator proposal. We also have to add on the section of discussion, the employee luncheon. And on the section of town clerk's office, I'm also going to be adding the holidays and.
Where did you want to add the luncheon?
Sorry?
Where did you want to put that in it?
The holidays, we're just going to put it as 15.3. It's more to bring it for you next meeting, just to have it already on
Got it.
the agenda, that's all.
Okay. What else?
That was it.
What was the third one?
The luncheon, which we could put it as 20.4,
I got the luncheon as 15.3.
15.3.
Holiday
Okay.
luncheon is 15.3.
Okay.
Then we had the elevators,
Yep,
14.3,
14.5.
14.5. Okay. And then is there anything else?
No, sir.
The commission? The town manager. All right, we'll move on with presentations. Any presentations today? No, none. Okay. Reports of committees and staff. 6.1, Broward Sheriff's Office, Captain Croker. I saw you sneak in the back.
Good evening, Mayor Jacobs, Vice Mayor Javille, and Commissioner Hodgkins. My name is Lieutenant Charles, and I'm going to be doing the presentation for this evening. During the month of September 2021, we had a total of 630 calls for service. 188 were non-911 calls, 318 were 911 calls, and 106 were deputy-initiated calls. We had a total of 18 park walk and talks. With regards to accidents, we had a total of 38. We had 28 minor accidents and 9 accidents with injuries, and 1 occurring on a highway, which was an assist. We issued 26 citations, 2 criminal citations, and 24 uniform citations. Regarding to arrest, we had a total of 6 arrests. One of them was an arson, second-degree arson, which took place at the apartment complex. We had criminal mischief arrest, 1 arrest for possession of cocaine, and domestic battery arrest, 2 warrants, 1 for an attempted subject on an attempted murder. As far as our crime stats, we had 1 auto theft, we had 1 burglary business, 3 burglary conveyances. And again, the burglary conveyances were items left visible in the vehicles. So I implore the town folks, again, to not leave things visible in their cars once they leave their cars, put them in the trunk, and to lock their vehicles. And with regard to the mobile homes, I believe we had one incident at the mobile home, which was a burglary conveyance, and that vehicle was left unlocked. In addition to the stats, every year around this time, during the month of August, the captain initiates an operational plan to combat violent crimes in the town, right, and the city as well. It's a combined ops plan. And this year, we used it to target the theft of catalytic converters. And during the month-long ops, which ran from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning, we had a total of 23 felony arrests, 5 misdemeanor arrests, and we removed 7 firearms from people who were not authorized to have them. And we had 1 warrant that we authored where a host of narcotics were recovered. That case is still ongoing, and there's also going to be quite a financial recovery as well as that narcotics arrest. And with that concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
With the catalytic converters, did they find where they were, what were they doing with them? Because that's pretty dangerous stuff.
Unfortunately, this is a nationwide issue that that's going on, including the state of Florida. There's precious metals in these catalytic converters, and they steal them to sell these precious metals. They're normally sold at the in the black market, so it's kind of hard to figure out exactly where they're being sold and to whom they're being sold to, unless we get somebody to confess. We did have an arrest last month for the theft of catalytic converters, and we actually caught these folks in the act, and we're able to recover some of them. Yeah.
More questions? Questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night.
Chief Kane, you're up.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, Commission, and staff. Michael Kane, Broward Sheriff's Office Fire Rescue, presenting for the month of September. In the month of September, we ran 173 calls in the town. Of those, 10 were fires, 53 were vehicle accidents, 15 of them were alarms, 89 of them were medical calls, and 6 were service calls. 173 calls, that's pretty much in tune with previous months as well. So nothing out of the ordinary there. That's my presentation for the evening. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I have no questions. Anyone?
Okay. Thank you. Have a good evening.
This thing is like extra loud tonight. Building department. It says interim building official. Yeah. How about building official Nunez?
Thank you. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Clerk Commissioner, Miguel Nunez, Building Official, Town of Pembroke Park. I'm presenting at this point in time, actually 2 reports. The first one is September 2021. And like is customary, we're still in the building department using the non-contact approach. As we all know, we're still working with our residents in a personalized manner, which is a standard. During the month of September, by the numbers, we have some permits where it's a little bit decreased from 100 last month to 80 this month. In addition, some of the commercial and residential went up. The permits closed went up a little bit, and the inspections were just a tad down, just about 20 items from last month. So we're still going into a basic balance, straight line into all the numbers, including the front counter visits went up a little bit also. In regards to our revenue, the building department ended up with a revenue of $49,510 and change for the last month of the fiscal year in September. So as you can see the chart in there, we surpassed our proposed budget, and that I will be presenting on in my second presentation. You're going to see where the money went up. According to the large construction or notable projects, everything is still the same. It's on progress to be completed. Basically, Amazon is in record to obtain their final certificate of occupancy before the end of the year. Pembroke Plaza, which is Pembroke Park Plaza, is on the process also to obtain the certificate of completion by the end of the year, and the duplex is ready to obtain it within a month. That will conclude the month of September, which is in a nutshell what we have. However, I would like to present to you a summary of the entire year, and you can see that in our annual report for the fiscal year 2021. I would like to advise the Commission that these numbers were taken directly from our software, building department software. However, some discrepancies may be with the financial conditions, and I'll explain which one of those. To our stakeholders, and I'm going to go into that. The building department operation and regulatory requirements are based in the Florida Building Code as mandated by the State of Florida Statutes 553, Title 4, for the technical portion of the building code, while the administrative part is governed by the Broward County Administrative Provision of the Florida Building Code under Chapter 1 amendments to the Florida Building Code under the supervision of the Broward County Board of Rules and Appeals, as regulated as determined in March 9, 1976, during the public referendum of the Broward County chapter under Special Act 71-575. That gives you the information as to where the building department actually comes and goes. However, during 2021, we have some strategic highlights, which is the building department moved to the new offices within the City Hall. Everybody knows where it is. We've drafted the amnesty program as a town commission's initiative to reduce the number of violations and potential unsafe structures. We digitalize all files and records. We're still in progress. For easy accessing and greater efficiency, we added a staff for standing and permitting processing. And we finalized our 40-year safety inspection audit for the unresponsive buildings and started the creation of notice of violation and sending those to the special magistrate. That is still in progress at this point in time. That are the strategic highlights. In regards to our financial highlights, it's just one single item. During this fiscal year, the building department financial state was solid as a special fund, self-dependent, and our finances remain independent from the town general fund. Our operating highlights, and I will expand later a little bit on that. Operating highlights during the reporting fiscal year, the building department have increased the number of permits applied and issued. Inspections, customer at the counter, because of our temporary electronic review and process, which have decreased the length of time that our customer has to wait for a review process from 2 weeks originally to 1 week. And we expect that to go down as soon as we have our new software in place. Obviously, that is because what I call a three-leg approach, a stool approach with our customers, which is the designer, the building department, and the contractor. If one of them fails, we all fail. And that's basically what we're trying to go into their approach. Now, I would like to note, and this is a big note, that these productivity and efficiency efforts were conducted during one of the most difficult times during the worldwide pandemic of COVID-19 on the building department. And we did never stop our service and operations by applying diverse number of logistics measures and benefit to our customers. And that is a statement by itself, because we never stop, and we are actually reducing the time that our customers has to come to our to wait for our permits. Our motto is to service our customers with efficiency, integrity, and equality. Looking ahead, because of our current level of productivity and efficiency, also the upcoming permitting software, which is expected to be implemented in the first quarter of 21-22. We are still working on that. The following is expected. Efficient application of permit and review process for a comments and approval time reduction. That means we're trying to lower it before more than 1 week. Paperwork reduction and paperless interaction. Staff accountability to their actions and responsibilities. We're going to be starting an outreach program for the upcoming amnesty program. We're also going to be creating an outreach program for the floodplain provisions, software interactions, and as I call it also the permitting university, how to deal with our businesses, how to apply for permits, how to navigate to our building code issues, and among others. However, the building department will continue to be a partner in our customer permit application, like I mentioned to you guys, as a three-leg stool approach. On the next page, you're going to find the financial information. However, this is based, like I mentioned, I wanted to be cautious on this because our numbers may differ a little bit from the finance department, which is part of this particular agenda also. While our revenue was above our surplus, our operating budget, one of the items is during this particular year, we have our construction of the building department. So those particular additional monies and revenue were used for the building department construction, among other adjustments in our surrounding areas. That means we have an almost balanced budget because of that condition without touching our surplus and our reserves, which was the original intent, but that never happened. So, and that obviously is a plus when it goes to any building department. In regards to the operational information, I would like to bring to your attention that remember that the building department is only work for 4 disciplines only, which is structural, electrical, mechanical, and plumbing. We don't have any more. That's what the building department is responsible for in accordance with the state statutes. However, I'm going to try to move a little bit faster. If you look at under the first chart about the permits applied, you're going to notice that I presented a series of charts based on permits applied in commercial, permits applied residential. I tried to separate them to you. And also, I created what is called a combined trend line. Obviously, I'm trying to use a linear trend line and no other statistical type of trend line, just to not confuse anybody. But in every one of them, in the permits applied, next one, permits issue, that you're going to see there, I'm trying to go into issue versus close. All of them were in the upward trend. There was in no moment, there was a lower trend. So that means our permits is continually increasing. Even during the pandemic, we have more applications than ever with the same staff, basically. And we are continuing to surpass, we feel very, very strong that we will be able to manage that on the next fiscal year. And the inspections is one of the biggest trends that we have, because obviously the more permits, the more inspections we have with the same staff, no additional numbers, no additional staff implementing. And you're going to see in there, obviously in colors, you're going to see a structural, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, and a total combined. It's still an upper trend. That will be on the next chart. That one. It's still on the upper trend. If you look at the line, it's continuously up all the time, from one to the other. And I'm not even going to be going into, and this will be, and one thing that I wanted to bring is this is going to be the first set of data that we are taking in order to start creating what is called a multi-year trend, to measure what we measure from year to year to see if our resources are sufficient or not. However, the building department is not only servicing the 4 disciplines that we mentioned. The building department also serves some outside agencies, how we call it. Outside agencies are the Town of Pembroke Park Planning and Zoning Department. In the planning, we assist in the Development Review Committee. And on the zoning department, we maintain the permits application, which is the inspections activity, including but not limited to permits, submittal and processing, customer assistance, inspections, communications, and requests, unless they request to go to the directly zoning or planning department director. Also, we enter the fees at the permits, and we close the permits. That is also associated with us. The same thing happens with the engineering, whenever we have an engineering permit. And also, we assist the Broward County Fire Prevention and all those items at the same time. So that is a truly one-stop shop to the building department. Now, based on that, I would like to summarize basically the notable projects which we have spent through the entire year. The Amazon Distribution Center, Coca-Cola, Pembroke Plaza, the duplex, and Seneca. Obviously, that will not count the numerous small standalone permits, fences, sheds, mobile homes, office renovations, new condo renovations, kitchen, bathrooms, and miscellaneous other items and permits that we receive, which is also a lot of bulk, and it's basically the same type of a process in that. In conclusion, I would like to present, and you're going to find out what I mentioned about the three-leg stool approach. One is the designer, the center is the building department, and then the successful completion based on the contractor. If one of them fails, we all fail. That's our approach, and that's our opinion. So we can conclude, based on that, on the information just provided to you, that the building department is a solid, productive, and efficient unit, and that its approach will continue to be in the basic premise that our staff is committed to act with integrity and the utmost level of customer service. And this was demonstrated in the previous fiscal year, which I mentioned, and again, I would like to bring to you, was during the worldwide pandemic of COVID-19. And everybody knows the challenges that we had during that time. Finally, I would like to thank the mayor, commissioners, and management for their continuous assistance and support during the reported period. I want to thank you, each and every one of you. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer them. Yes, sir.
How does the amount of code enforcement violations correlate with the increased number of permits?
I'm going to have to give you that number because most of those violations can be for work without permits, and that can correlate to assist in the building department as the number of permits. Okay. We're going to have to put it together for you, sir. Yeah, no, it does assist. It does help.
Okay.
I'm just using the building department as a benchmark, and I'll leave Chief Ramirez to present her final report whenever she's ready for that. And I'm pretty sure I will make sure that I'll give you that information so she can present it to you, to the commission. Thank you, sir.
Do you have any more information on the amnesty program? I am not familiar with how that works.
The amnesty program at this point in time, we have a series of meetings. As a matter of fact, next week we have a meeting. Actually, this week we have a meeting with management, the town attorney, and the finance director, so we can finalize the last details of it. I have additional information that they were requested for me to provide to them, and that's what is called an amnesty program update. Next week, we're starting a series of conversation with the mobile home park owners in order to get their opinion and ideas. Remember, it's an outreach, and then we're going to go to the public. Our intent, unless something is missing or something happens from here to there, is to initiate the amnesty program somewhere by January 1st for the period of 1 year.
You don't have any concerns that it will interfere with be in conflict with, the process, the building permit process?
Well, that will be part of that. That was being considered because the amnesty program, it will be solving the building permits issues and the violations that are associated with the permits issues, in addition to the illegal construction and many other type of issues that they have not only at the mobile home parks, in single family residence, townhomes, and every building that has a code associated.
Yeah, I'm sure it happens everywhere too. So.
Oh, yes, sir, yeah.
Right, thank you.
Just so you know, Clerk Commissioner, before we implement, right now we're finalizing it. but it'll come before the commission, all the details, you have all
It'll
the
be
questions.
vetted, in other words.
Yeah,
Sounds
and
good.
then you guys will give it, your approval, and then we'll proceed.
Yeah, we cannot move without your approval, sir. Thank you, Mr. Manager.
To clarify.
Thank you, thank you for that. I forgot to mention.
Been a lot of work to get to this point with this program, so we're the beginning of the year.
And that's our intent, because we're trying to do it with the calendar year. That way, because it's for 1 year program, so that way there's no ambiguity with the dates of implementation.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Wait, Mr. Nunez,
Yes, sir.
do you see our permits issued or applied for going down significantly once these projects are completed? The notable-
Which one? These ones?
Yeah.
The notable projects?
Right.
No, we have multiple projects already on the line. And I can tell you right now, off my head, we have like 3 projects, 3 new buildings in Seneca. We have the new car wash that is coming, that is on plan review at this point in time in Holland Beach Boulevard. We have additional buildings on the 30th Avenue that are coming, and other buildings that are getting to be proposed for 52nd, plus additional, some part of the developers are contacting us. So I think we're gonna go up. That's my current assessment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Number 8, code enforcement. Code enforcement officer Ramirez.
Hold on, Mayor. 7.2 you skipped.
Nope, 7.2. Computers for the building department. Miguel, that's you.
I'm sorry.
I missed it too.
We just couldn't get enough.
Okay.
We wanted you to do it again.
We wanted you to come back.
I don't know
You
if I
want a
can
time
do it
limit, though?
again.
I'm joking.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, Miguel Nunez, building official. Okay, this building official, Town of Pembroke Park, mayor, commissioners. This purchase is. We're talking about the purchase for the computer.
$28,000 for
Okay,
new
that's what I'm
computers.
talking. That's what I'm talking. Yeah.
Want me to summarize? I read it already, so.
You got me out of
that you or
out of
me?
it. Yeah.
All of us, I think.
Yeah, this particular purchase is to bring the building department into the next century. We have the facilities now. With the new software, that will allow our customers, applicants, or anybody who interacts with the building department to be 100% electronic interaction. In addition, that allows us to be in a mobile position. That means if we have in any way, shape, or form, any casualties, event, or anything, I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form, we have another COVID, hopefully not. Or we have an event like a hurricane or something like that we are unable to work in the building. The entire building department will be flawlessly be able to work without interruption or hiccups for any applications in the building. In addition, that we know that if we have an event, permits are gonna skyrocket it. And that is part of this is the reason of this purchase.
What are you gonna do with your tablets and chisels?
We're gonna donate them to the carpenters so they can.
All right.
Just so that you know, this is part of, and IT will say this, we're trying to go to docking stations so we can unplug, go, move, and work from basically anywhere. These computers are going to be purchased out of the building department funds.
Yeah.
So it does not have a general fund, technically an impact to the general fund.
That is correct, sir.
Questions? None for me. Okay,
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Can I move?
Yes, you may. You wanna, you put that to the consent?
Yeah, that's, everything's going to consent unless otherwise. Hold on one second. Okay. Code Enforcement Officer, Chief Code Enforcement Officer Ramirez. 8.1, Code Enforcement Department reports for the month of September 2021.
Chief Code Enforcement Officer Jocelyn Ramirez. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Clerk Commissioner. Reporting for the month of September 2021, we had 15 supplemental order claim of liens, 30 notice of violations, 32 notice of formal hearings, 25 final orders, 2 amended final orders, 2 affidavit of non-compliance, and 22 affidavits of compliance. I've also provided a summary detail report of the fiscal year of 2021. Moving over to the next page. The next one, that one. Just states the special magistrate hearings that have been completed so far is September 15, 2021, October 2021, and those special magistrate hearings were a success. Everything went smoothly. Not much to report on them. We are going to have a hearing on November 17, 2021, and December is tentative. We might not have one in December. We might follow it to January. The projects that we're working on continuously is the graffiti removal on Southwest 30th Avenue. One of the major properties there that has been vandalized is the property on 2503 John P. Lyons Lane, which it will be heard in November's special magistrate hearing. The property owners are planning to install a fence to prevent from further vandalism. So I'm looking forward to that main one, that it's an eyesore, to be painted soon. Another project we're working on is implementing the GIS system for code enforcement. Heidi and Brock have been assisting me with that. And also with the town attorney, I'm working in regards to bringing citation process for the town, which means that we will be able to cite business owners and residents, but those citations, the public will have the option to just pay a fine. If they don't pay the fine for, let's say, illegal dumping or a prohibited sign, then they can bring that issue to Broward County Court. We can set it up for a hearing at Broward County Court, but we will have to, Alyssa and I will have to sit down and discuss the process for that. And that is also what we will be discussing to eliminate the amount of illegal dumping and trash that I have seen within the town. And as always, we continue to do town corridor assessments. The following few pages will be items that have been complied with. As you can see on property 3153 West Hollandale Beach Boulevard, there's blight conditions. And you can see the before and after photos. Right now it's cleaned up, painted, and all those items there were removed. This is the same property, 3153 West Hollandale Beach Boulevard. As you can recall, Town Planner Heidi brought forth to the commissioners to approve a mural. This is the mural that was done at the property. It was in blight condition. Their idea was to put the mural. It looks much better now. The next property is 3120 West Hollandale Beach Boulevard, Lot 901. This is a illegal addition. As you can see, they removed it with a demo permit. Moving forward, property 2550 Southwest 30th Avenue. It was in blight condition. The whole building and fence and everything was demolished with a demo permit. $4,100 West Hollandale Beach Boulevard had a prohibited donation bin, which was brought up by Public Service Director Robert Clark. Family Dollar gave us the permission to remove it, so Public Works went ahead and removed it. Next is property 5401 Southwest 25th Court. This property has an ongoing trash issue, and I've received multiple complaints that the trash spreads everywhere. As you can see on the after photo, they have removed the trash and cleaned up the property. Property 2500 Southwest 30th Avenue was in blight condition. As you can see, the sign and the roof is in bad condition. They went ahead and installed a new roof with permits. And before I finish my report, I'd like to add, it was not stated on my report, but I'd like to add that code enforcement for the fiscal year of 2021 has accumulated, well, not accumulated, has received in fines $18,829, which offsets the cost of the special magistrate. The special magistrate cost is $4,927.50, which leaves us with a positive amount of $13,871.50. And that concludes my report. Any questions?
Questions? You got any questions?
No questions, thank you.
All right, thank you.
And one more thing.
Okay.
I'd just like to say thank you for the support of the commission. It's almost been a year since I've been supervising, and I don't think I could have done it without your support.
Doing a great job.
Finance Department, Finance Director Taubenfeld. 9.1, Business Tax Receipts, Billing Update, BTR Administrator Grooms.
I'll be speaking on behalf of Ms. Grooms tonight. Good evening, Commission, I should say. Harry Taubenfeld, Budget and Finance Director. What you have in front of you is a summary report for BTR. Starting with the first page, what you have there listed are reimbursable expenses. The negative amounts are credit amounts that are due to, potentially due to outstanding customers. They still have, some of these have still some ongoing projects. Others are being closed out, so we're going through that. And we'll be issuing refunds to any ones that have been completed. If you go down further to this bottom part of the page, you have a summary of what the BTR collections were for the prior fiscal year. The first part of it started with the actual annual billing, and the second piece below it would show you the amount of BTR collected throughout the fiscal year. So in totality, for the fiscal year 2021, we're looking at approximately $285,000 worth of revenue that was collected through BTR. You scroll down to the second page. The second page includes the billings and collections for the current fiscal year. Business owners had until September 30th to pay their dues. At this point, On October 1st, they are considered late, so we went ahead and processed all the late fees and penalty fees to the outstanding balances, and now are going out and doing everything we can to go ahead and collect these outstanding balances. We get down to the last page. These are all the miscellaneous receivables that the town has with various customers and business owners. One thing to note, the FDOT lighting maintenance, the $23,407, that money was received yesterday, so that actually can come off the aging. And then we are still working with the Pembroke Church of Christ and trying to get a resolution to the outstanding amount. That concludes the report for BTR. If there's any questions, I'll try to answer them for you.
I do have a question.
Sure.
There's a new company over on Park Road. I don't remember the name of it. Lucy, do you remember the name of the company? One that's always blocking the road on Park Road with vehicles and... They have a BTR?
I'd have to check with Michelle tomorrow. I could.
Don't? Okay. Okay. Can you make sure Michelle gets on that with that as well? They're continually blocking Park Road with multiple trucks. It's usually heavy in the mornings and in the afternoons when they're bringing equipment in and out.
Okay.
But there's been several complaints about Park, and I drive through it all the time too. So
I'll discuss with her in the morning. You're welcome.
And Mayor, they'll be going into a lien this special magistrate.
anyone have any questions?
No questions.
Dan, can you
Those-
move the microphone just a little closer to you?
What?
Can you move the microphone just a little closer?
You want me to?
No.
Much better.
Everyone awake? All right.
Sorry.
Okay,
bills over 1,500.
Yes, what you have here in front of you are actually the bills list over $1,500. Anything over, with the new procurement policy that the commission approved last month, technically the only items that need to be presented here would be anything over 10,000. But we still wanted to give the commission at least an overview to see what bills over 1,500 are coming due as well. So what you have here are, again, the bills that exceed over $10,000 that would require your approval.
Okay.
Any questions? I'm here to answer them.
I do want to point out, and I don't want to put any words in, but you'll see the two big ticket items there are the professional legal expenses for the progressive waste.
I don't want to say too much about it because we are at the end of settlement negotiations, and I'm hoping we will have a completed, signed settlement agreement next week. But a portion of that settlement agreement,
We don't have to say anything.
the legal expenses should be covered for the settlement agreement. Just put it that way. And in the coming week, I will be meeting with each of you individually to discuss the settlement, assuming that we're getting to the signing phase.
Sounds good. I also got a question about one item on there. The submersible pump, is that to pump out our lift stations?
That's for pump station number 1, I believe, correct?
Pump out for lift station 1?
Yep.
Submersible pump.
Submersible pump?
Those are ABS submersible pump models.
Any further questions?
No more questions?
Great.
You have any?
No.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to 9.3, revenue and expense summary through September 30th. What you have in front of you, starting with the first page, is a summary snapshot as of this day of where the financials look for the fiscal year 2021. We are still in the process of doing our year-end close, so these numbers are subject to change, and then there's also going through the year-end audit, which could alter the final numbers as well. But preliminary numbers, what you have here in front of you. By fund, And then as you go through the pages, you have a little bit more detailed information where you see your different types of, where your revenue sources are coming from and where your expenses are being incurred, I should say. And then you have detailed information for all the different departments are included in the report. If there's anything specific that you have, I'm here to answer any questions.
I got a question that's not actually on this, but it goes to our USDA loan.
Sure.
Have we been able to track all the expenses for that yet? Or are we looking for where everything went for that?
Are we talking about the USDA loan or the police loan?
USDA loan.
USDA.
The answer to your question, honestly, was not given any directive. I've been trying to find where those funds, where the work was utilized for those funds. I have not been able to find anything.
Okay.
So
I talked with JC about it earlier today, and
I'm going to be,
want to do it here so the other commissioners are aware too. If you guys can look in to try and find where those funds were used, that seems like a lot of money, and we should be able to see where it went around here. So
we're looking and well, like you and I spoke, I'm gonna be making that phone call to
Craig A. Smith.
Craig A. Smith Associates.
There. I know it's there. It's on the tip of your tongue.
Yep.
I can reach out to the USDA as well and see what, if any information.
If there's
they
any
have.
invoices or anything.
Not
that
invoices, yeah, whatever documentation might have been provided. to
Okay.
them. So I'll reach out to them as well.
I'm just, that was a big chunk of money, and I'm sure it was an eye-opener for a lot of us up here, so.
I'm wondering if they had to go through the bond process.
I believe they did because it's the same type of loan. Initially, it was the same type of loan that we were seeking with the USDA, initially for the police department. So I got to believe that they have some sort of documentation.
Right,
I can reach out to
okay.
them. No problem.
Thanks.
No worries.
9.4, payoff USDA rural development bond.
Speaking of the bond. Okay, so yeah, so what you have here in front of you is the payoff letter from the USDA. The target date here is November 12th. Assumption made that the voting meeting taking place on the 10th. Holiday on the 11th, so the first day that would be available to make the payment would be November the 12th. As previously discussed, the recommendation here is to pay off the note. Once the note, and just as a reminder, once the note is paid, the town that has approximately $1.1 million of restricted funds allocated to this fund that would be released that can go back into the sewer fund for any potential other projects that may be needed down the road.
Questions? Town merchant credit card account.
Okay, so number 5 is actually a twofold situation. But first, we'll start with opening up the merchant account with Synovius Bank. As part of the agreement with Synovius and securing the loan with them, we agreed to move all of our banking as well as our merchant account with them. Part of their requirement is making sure that we have commission approval. We also need to set dollar amount, a credit limit for the card, and authorized users or an authorized user for the account to representative to be able to speak with the credit card company. So again, just seeking your approval to have that so that we can go ahead and execute that with Synovius Bank. Which then brings me to the next part, which would be Wells Fargo. In opening up the merchant account with Synovius, we can then would be able to close out the account with Wells Fargo. And what I wanted to point out to the commission is with the Wells Fargo's account, the town has accumulated roughly 380,000 merchant reward points that could be used for various things. One of them being for airfare credits. Airfare credits. The other option could be a credit against the statement, and the third option, if we wanted to do it, we could also get gift cards. If you wanted to get gift cards, we can get $25 increments. The value is a penny a point, so roughly 385,000 points. You're looking at roughly $3,800. So again, three options would be a credit against the outstanding balance. If the town wants to get gift cards, we can offer get gift cards and do it with please, or use that money for any travel credits, airline credits that.
A lot of flights. What's your recommendation?
I say take the money and apply it against the balance.
Agree?
I agree with
What I
that.
would recommend.
Move that for consent as well.
That's all I got.
Okay, are you, in this also with the town cards, will we be having credit cards through the bank, or are we still keeping our Wells Fargo?
No, we're going to close out Wells Fargo altogether and get new cards with Synovius.
Make sure there's a lapse, because I have some travel coming up, and I'm sure,
No, absolutely. We'll work it out. I'm not going to do anything without it.
so we don't get hung.
I got you. Take
I
care.
got hotels and stuff sitting on there, so.
All right, fine. I'll sit with Joy. I'll go with, and whatever she has, maybe we'll transfer it over once we make that switch, so we don't have any lapse or anything like that. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Human resources, none, unless you have any. IT? None. Town planner? You're up. 12.1, monthly report.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Heidi Siegel, Town Planner. A brief overview of the months of September and October. A big portion of our work was with the 6-acre site at Seneca. It has passed planning and zoning, and you will start to see the first part of that application at the November commission meeting, which is part of a rezoning ordinance to allow the gas station and self-storage on the site. Throughout the past couple months, I've coordinated with the town's GIS consultant, and we expect that project to be able to go internally public in the very near future. We're still working on the impact fee study. We have an update meeting with our consultants on Friday. And the septic to sewer study is wrapping up, and you'll have a presentation on the next item. For the next Planning and Zoning Board meeting, as a result of the recent visioning workshop with the commission, we're going to start studying the sign code, and in preparation for that, I'll be meeting with Jocelyn and the town attorney so we can bring forward some ideas to the Planning and Zoning Board. In relation to the FDOT project along 95, today I attended a virtual meeting with the police chief. It was with other first responder agencies for FDOT to go over the plan. There were concerns raised. They're trying to see how they can address the first responder concerns. And also, we've been contacted by the project manager at FDOT after receiving our resolution against the project. He wants to sit down with the manager and myself in the next week to review some possible solutions that they're willing to offer. So we'll be reporting back to you as soon as we have that information.
One of those solutions is scrapping the whole thing and starting fresh?
I don't think, based on the meeting I was at today, I don't expect that.
Joy, what is, Hollandale's also against it. Have you heard anything from Hollywood on it?
Yeah, Hollywood is against it.
So the three cities involved are all against it?
Yes, sir. That is the conclusion of my report. If you have any questions, please let me know.
12.2, 30th Avenue Sanitary Sewer Project.
So this is a preliminary study that, what we call a route study to show where the possible sewer connections can take place so we can convert all of the septic systems on 30th to sewer. I have Nelson Morena and Steve Williams from Keith and Associates here tonight to present the study's findings. I want to commend them. They turned around this project in 5 months to us. This is something that's been lingering in the town for a long time. So after their presentation, I'll come back up, and if we can discuss possibly allowing staff to put together a scope of work so we can proceed with design, that's the direction we're looking for. So I'm going to hand it over to Nelson right now.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioner, thank you very much. I'm Steve Williams, Vice President of Civil Engineering at Keith, and Nelson Morena is with us today. He's working on this project, the conversion of a septic system along 30th Avenue to a lift station. And this was basically a site selection that we're doing in this first phase to find out what's the best way to get the sewage that we would collect into a lift station along 30th and get it back into the town's sewage system that runs along Park. So there's two routes. There's an existing easement that runs through some buildings about in Central, and then there's Hallandale Beach. So we studied the different routes, looked at what, did a survey of the corridor, took a look at the underground utilities. We have ground penetrating radar that's able to locate the lines that are in there, so we could find what's the most feasible and cost-effective route to get from 30th Avenue to the town's existing force main that's along Park. So with that, I'm going to start to go through the slides here. The yellow outlines the corridor of what we were looking at, which is along 95 here. The area is constrained right now from what the development can be because of the septic tank. There's very much restrictions on the site area for a septic tank, and that's all that can go in there. You have to have a certain amount of drain field area, and you can only have so much flow going into a septic tank. So by going to a sanitary sewer system, it lifts that restriction on what can be developed in that corridor along I-95. So giving you the brief overview of what we've done, but we've done a data gathering phase, which is saying what the utilities are in the area. We've taken a look at the model. There's a model, the town has done a prior model for this area. And then this report is this is sort of an final, if you would, phasing report of where we are, and if you have any further questions you want to do to address before we wrap it up. So what I'm going to do here is this is the limits of where we are. And it's, again, I-95 along from Hallandale Beach, Boulevard up to Pembroke Road, and the warehouses and so forth along there right now, which could be improved if we lift the restrictions that septic tanks currently have on those systems. The town has a model that was done prior. We took a look at this and what the lift stations would have to be in order to get into the town system, what's the best route to get there. I'm going to let Nelson get into some of the details of what that came out with as we go. So there's the various areas here. We also had to find out where we're going to put the lift station. There's one area on the bend that looks like it's to be most appropriate for the lift station. There's not a lot of right-of-way in this corridor or property. There's a lot of DOT property, and as well as some private properties in there. So what I'm going to do is kick it to Nelson here right now to give you a brief overview of what the proposed improvements are for this quarter. Nelson?
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Commission. So just real quick, Nelson Moharena, just going to go ahead and show the considerations that we looked into as far as determining the most feasible route. The two options that we were looking into primarily was along Pembroke Road and also through South Park Road. And really, the determining factor was just the restrictions that would be placed when considering Pembroke Road being heavily traversed, a lot of MOT, pavement restoration, and just a lot of encumbrances, especially its proximity to I-95 with the off-ramp. There's just a lot of challenges that kind of discouraged us from pursuing. We definitely did consider and did a feasibility study for that. But what we really wanted to explore was the option looking into South Park Road, which utilizes the strip of private land that's currently has a utility easement that's conveyed by plat. It's non-exclusive to any particular utility. And with this, there's this same corridor has a force main, a drainage force main that has an easement that's serving exclusively that force main, and also some fiber optic cable. So we feel that this, through the study, it's ideal to utilize this in order to avoid the setbacks that we would encounter if we were to pursue going through Pembroke Road. But just running through the models, as far as the alignments, just the pipes that are considered in the routes, the points of connections vary, but as far as the runs that would any particular route we would use, It ends up being a wash as far as the length of pipe for each run. You can see just the comparison between the two. It's not very much. And just in conclusion, the corridor in Pembroke, I mean, as we suspected, was just it's difficult to develop, and just with the MOT, with pavement restorations, we're dealing with FDOT, and there's just additional restrictions with that regard. Well, if we were to pursue the Route 1, we would actually be just limited to city right-of-ways, and we'd have more control as far as going that route. And that being said, the overall benefits to converting from septic to sewer has an immediate benefit. As Steve said, it's a lot of real estate that's being used for drainage, for drain fields and septic tanks. And with the other thing is just the limiting factor as to what can actually be percolating through these septic tanks. Converting from a on-site decentralized sewage treatment system to one that ultimately collects and transmits over to the city of Hollywood, you allow for this area to grow and develop into more than what we're considering right now, which is more predominantly warehouses. We would be able to explore possibly utilizing office spaces, hotels, restaurants in the strip, uses that now with septic tank and drain field it wouldn't be feasible. So that said, the conclusion is that we recommended scenario 1 for this reasons stated earlier. Just really primarily because of the setbacks considered for Pembroke Road. It's as far as the costs in between the two.
My fault.
Okay. Okay. Everybody awake?
We'll deal with her later, don't worry.
Anytime you have money, does it go that way?
So there's a difference between the two, other than just saying one is worse than the other. It's a $300,000 roughly difference between going through Park Road or Pembroke Road. So that being said, we want to thank the opportunity to participate in the study and the ability to work with you considering the routes. And I'm just going to open this time for any questions or concerns that you have the study.
Was that the west side of South Park Road?
That would be, yes, the west side. So ultimately, we're, as you can see, like in this picture, would be the study area that we're considering as the orange strip, and the alignment that would be to South Park Road would be that green line, which is just a segment that bears west, south, and west to South Park Road.
Right,
So,
that's a buried force main along that grade. It's just connecting. There's an existing 12-inch force main that's in.
There's one there already.
Right,
Yeah.
we would just be making a connection. One of the interesting things, the other benefit of the green getting to South Park Road in that location is it passes an existing city or town lift station with a force main. So there's opportunity to upgrade that lift station, plugging into a new force main that would be in there that could also be a benefit. So there were the main concern we have with going through the buildings. You have to, in both cases, cross a railroad, which is a big expense. We didn't know that there was actually the legal right in that easement to cross when we initially started, but in taking a look at what the easements are, the one easement that there's a 20-foot drainage easement, which is exclusive for drainage, which we can't go in, but there's an adjacent easement that Nelson was talking about that is non-exclusive, and that's where we would go with the directional under the railroad and get into that easement. So
That area floods all the time.
Excuse me?
You know, that area floods all the time.
Yeah,
I have
that's
no
a
idea
drainage
why.
issue. That's a drainage issue, which is another issue. The definition. Unfortunately, sewer's going to be down under the ground, so we're not going to be worried about flood. It's going to be in the water anyway. But water, sewer, and drainage, nobody wants to talk about them unless they don't work, right? So,
Right.
So, if there are any further questions about what we're doing, or
How long would that take to complete?
The next step of this would be to go into the design phase. This was to find the route, find out what the utilities do the due diligence you would on the front end of this thing, and come up with some cost estimates that would help secure whatever the funds or bonding or whatever grants that are going to be used to pay for this. So that's this first phase. So the next phase is going to go into the design. There'll be a detailed survey of the selected route that we'll go into, and then construction beyond that. So it's the design phase is probably in that 4 to 6 months time frame, and the construction could be in 6 months to a year. These are rough numbers I'm throwing out to you right now until we had a chance to sit down and look at them, but that's ballpark numbers.
Thank you.
Since we're in the World Series.
Good. Any other questions?
All right.
Thank you
Very much.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
So I would be cautious and say it would be 18 months when you have town procurement and permitting.
How long for a shovel-ready project?
Oh, to get it to shovel would probably be 8 months, because with permitting, those type of things would have to take place. We have the easements, we have access to them, but we have to work with the property owners and those type of things. So design could go 4 to 6, like he said, but I always like to be cautious, because I know once we get out in the field, there's always hiccups.
And you also have to tack on their bidding. That's,
Right, and the town's procurement
months.
Process.
Yeah. So what staff would like is some general consensus that we put together a scope of work and we seek engineering proposals through our existing library of service, or existing providers, and then come back to you with a contract to go into design.
Project moving forward.
Yeah, we just need to keep it moving forward.
Okay. And for,
We have to redevelop that whole area.
absolutely we've always talked about this is the first step. So this is something that I will continue to work on directly with Public Works. Rob Clark and I talk about this project every day, and I'm going to keep moving it down until it's time for them to take over.
Good.
And if I could just address Clerk Commissioner's comment or question before about the flooding, we do have a stormwater study or design going on over in that area as well.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Other questions?
Will all these business owners along there, will they be, is there some sort of method of helping them as because when construction goes there, it disrupts business terribly? Will they get some sort of help?
So Steve can talk to this better than I can, but a lot of the work is taking place in the right-of-way, except through this one property, and it's their driveway. But a lot of the work would be done as directional bores, and it's very non-invasive.
Oh,
That's all an industrial area as it is.
Yeah, right. Portions of it are, especially with the gravity from the force main portion of it. But the gravity system does have to be dug, and laying that. And that is disruptive, but there's an MOT, maintenance of traffic, that's worked out with the construction. It is a limited right-of-way in there, but we'll work with the contractor in making sure they provide access throughout the project. So they could work in segments as they go, so you're always providing access.
Yeah.
But you're right, it's never easy in a constrained corridor to do that work.
No, it isn't.
But we'll put that MOT and that type of business, continuation in the contract documents itself, so that they have to provide this service.
That's good. Thank you.
Right, 1213, or 12.3. Market Analysis, Economic Development, Strategic Plan for request for qualifications.
Thank you. This item was part of our fiscal year budget. $40,000 was put in the budget to do this study. We've prepared an RFQ that we would like to go out and seek qualifications from economic development type companies who do these studies. The goal of the study is to allow us to understand what is feasible for our market. They would do market data analysis, look at existing conditions. They would look at our housing stock, our commercial and industrial uses, the zoning code and development review procedures, and what is realistic for economic growth in the town, so then we can target our redevelopment efforts. All of this, what we're talking about, goes hand in hand. So we know exactly what could go into an area like Southwest 30th, and where do we need to target our outreach efforts. Also, part of the plan would for us to identify with them 2 key sites in town, private land, possibly, for them to give us some development scenarios. And what that allows us to do, in my experience, is to meet with developers and show them the town's vision for specific sites. And I don't know what those key sites will be until they start doing the market analysis. With your permission tonight, we would be able to release the RFQ by November 1st, with bids possibly coming in by November 22nd, and we would be in front of you for approval of contract at the January meeting. We'd like to have this study done within about 6 months, so we do go into next fiscal year and budget planning, understanding what our market really looks like.
Vote on this already?
No, not specifically.
So this being a workshop, we can't actually vote on it. We have to put it on the consent for next month.
We're just asking for permission to go out for bid. We don't need a
Yeah, to get-
Doesn't need a
resolution or
vote,
anything.
does it?
It's a budgeted item, so.
It's keeping you informed, seeking,
Perfect.
letting you know what we would like to do and just getting your consensus.
All right,
To say,
I just
yeah,
have it
let's-
listed as consent or item, so no problem.
Yep.
Okay.
So if we have consensus to
Yes.
proceed? Thank you so much.
Ray? Yes? Yeah.
Great, thank you.
All right, 13, Police Department, Interim Police Chief Howard. 13.1, used police cars from Jupiter PD.
Sorry. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Court Commissioner. Yeah, the going back a year and a half, the struggle with the budget, the finances, et cetera, precluded us from getting a total of 18 police cars. So in a way to circumvent that, I reached out and got 3 cars going to be sold to us by the Jupiter Police Department. So with the cost of the vehicle and getting them restriped to our colors, the total cost is right there. It's just under $7,000 for all 3. Still need 3 more cars for the chief, the deputy, and the shift commander. But I'll deal with that at a later time.
So total cost for all 3 cars is $69.18?
Yes, sir. Except I neglected to put the $40 in there for the tags.
Okay, so total.
So add another $120.
How many miles on those vehicles?
Right, all 3 of them have about 90,000 miles, but they were all take-homes. 2 of the cars are going to be used for spares, and while the 3rd one will be put into service.
JC, would 7,500 not to exceed on that? That work?
75 not to exceed is fine.
Yeah, because that puts it at $7,038, just in case any little extras come up. Yes, no?
It even has laptop stands.
All right. Is all right with putting this on consent at a not to exceed 7,500? Move that to consent. And 13, purchase of printers for police vehicles.
As you recall, the vehicles purchased were from a different agency with all the supply chain issues, et cetera. So we had to take what we could get. Unfortunately, these cars did not come with printers. However, with all that in mind, I did apply for a grant, and happily, Dave Severson's in the back here. I sent his office the language and they were supposed to have a letter written by somebody else as well. And I did get an email saying that I would be notified of their decision on the grant on the 31st. So I'm hoping that with our lobbyist efforts that we're going to get the grant. I put in for $2,000, and that'll pay for everything in addition to much more on that.
Okay. And this is, the printers is roughly 11,000?
Yeah, they're really tiny, I guess, so they're real expensive.
All right. Hear back on the grant on the 31st?
Yes, sir.
So by the next meeting, you'll know if we got the grant on them? You guys all right with this on the consent for not to exceed 11,000?
Yes.
But if we don't get the grant, we still have to get them.
Yeah, that way we put this on as a consent item for not to exceed 11,000. That way it's there, pending the grant. We'll get one on 31st.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, that's all I got.
All right. 14, Public Services Department, Public Services Director Clark.
If you don't mind, Mayor, if we could bring up 14.4 so that Keith and
Get outta here?
Associates, yes.
You guys don't want to hang out all evening? Go ahead, 14.4, Keith and Associates Engineering Study, proposal to replace 6-inch asbestos concrete pipe sanitary sewer force main on Southwest 30th Ave Street from Southwest 46th Ave to Southwest 33rd Ave.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, Mr. Clerk Commissioner. Thank you for the opportunity to present this evening. If you would please just click on the Keith and Associates link. I had no idea they was going to be here, or else I'd have them come up and give it. Come on, it'd be great.
Okay, thank you. Yep, we were asked for, to take a look at replacing the ACP, it's asbestos cement pipe. It's a force main, sanitary force main. This is pipe that went in years and years ago. There's a lot of this around the county. It's a material that deteriorates over a period of time, and the maintenance for keeping these pipes up gets to be quite expensive, and they happen to break in very unopportune times. So what the town has asked us to do is to take a look at replacing this with new modern pipe that goes in the system and replace this AC line. So it's something that needs to be done in order to keep us from talking about sanitary sewer systems in unopportune times, and that's what we've supplied the proposal for. If you have any questions about the proposal, I'm happy to answer.
Don't have any questions.
No.
One of the things the pipe bursting does is it allows us to do it without trenching. You talked about how it can interfere with the operation of traffic. With a pipe bursting, actually send another pipe inside and replace that pipe in place without having to. They have to have a receiving pit and a termination pit.
Right, so they can line it.
Right. It's a little bit a step above a liner. A liner actually uses the integrity of the existing pipe. This actually comes in here and busts the existing pipe out and replaces it with a whole new pipe that goes in. So you get a brand new pipe, rather it's not just a lined type
Okay.
pipe.
Thank you.
So total on this is $29,700 with reimbursables.
Yes, sir.
Rob, is this budgeted for?
Absolutely, it should be, but it was just talked about as part of maintenance and stormwater sewage. So we should have that within the budget to be able to do it. But I don't think that this particular one, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's the one we talked about pipe replacement.
But the pipe replacement.
All right, any questions?
No. So this is just a study, not the actual work. Okay.
It's design
Design of it.
so then you'll go out to bid to a contractor to do the actual replacement of it.
That's it.
All right, consent? Thank you for your time. If you want to hang out for the rest of the meeting, you're more than welcome to.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're leaving.
Wow.
For re-entertainment. I guess you don't want to talk about sewer things.
Okay.
Just
so
go back to
before-
14.1.
So, yeah, 14.1 is a container storage. All right, one of the biggest challenges that we have, and I know that last week, last time I was here, that I turned everybody on their head. So this time, hopefully, I won't be able to turn anybody on their head. I'll be able to have a good conversation with you, and you'll see some of the challenges that we have before us. We're going to talk about storage, and one of the things that we need is adequate storage, because if you walk through the town building and the other areas, we have stuff everywhere, and it culminates over 40 years of just being in the same location. So here's an example of stuff that has to go. And what I mean by has to go, if you notice the location, this is where our new police department is going to be. So we got to put our equipment in some location, and it's been this way for quite some time. And this is not to its full capacity when I first came in, and quite a few other things that were in there, but we've cleaned up quite a bit. And so we have enough space to park in our lawnmowers. But there again, if we can't park them here, then where do we park them? So as you can see, we have not just lawnmowers, we have jet systems that we need to be able to clean out the sewer systems. Obviously, I think we have 6 or 7 of riding lawnmowers. I think it's 6 around lawnmowers and then a fertilizer that we need to put out. So storage is a challenge. More pictures. And we can't throw any of this stuff away. Everything has a dollar value, even the paint cans, believe it or not. We need a location to work. That's the idea here, is that is our working surface. If someone had to take apart a pump, they really don't have the effective maintenance area to be able to perform any of the maintenance tasks. So a great deal of the things that we could probably do in-house is outsourced because we just don't have the resources or the location from which to do a job. Now, you can do work anywhere. You can get on the floor and work on it, but we're not as productive that way. Idealistically, we would like to take advantage of these cheaper structures that you can get dime a dozen. I think there's a couple locations on 441 in which you can just go pick them up with a trailer, but unfortunately, some unscrupulous individuals have found a way to kick a hole through the door and gone in and trashed the place, taken out whatever items. In some cases, didn't take anything. They just broke in it, just, I guess, to look and see. So you can see there's some damage that has been reported on some of the walls and things of that nature. And there again, some of the stuff is trash, but a great deal of it is items that we use as Christmas decorations and things of that nature. Now this is a demonstration of the deterioration associated with the buildings that we do have for storage, termite damage. And it was albeit makeshift, but it did work many years ago. But now, here again, it's just deferred maintenance in dilapidated conditions. Here's the example where someone just poked a hole through the door to be able to just open the door and go in. It was reported to me that it just went in and looked around, didn't take anything. And here's an example right here in the actual building to where that we're using mechanical rooms for storage. Again, Mr. Building Official, I apologize. But I've worked towards removing that He knows what I'm talking about. For the uninitiated, you're not supposed to have anything inside of the mechanical rooms. So one of the biggest things that we wanted to take a look at is the things that are necessary for the building that we're proposing. And so we were taking a look at a 20-foot container and a 40-foot container. And thanks to our planning department, we found out that there's a code that says that we can't put any containers for long-term storage. We can do it for short-term storage, and I talked to the building official. We could probably, if we had an active permit open, we could use that for temporary storage, but that doesn't satisfy our needs. So here's the expense associated with them. All right, so I'm the type of person where I look at things and I say either go around it, go over it, or go through it. And where we are is we're going through it. What I did is work with my team to put together a plan to try and come up with something that is all inclusive, all accommodating. And we reached out to a vendor for design, and we came up with a Quonset hut style building. It's a steel building. They assured me that no one would be able to punch through the walls and get in. They would have to take a cutting wheel to be able to get through them. So that solves one problem. The second problem is that is it going to be large enough? So we chose a 60-foot or 30 by 18 by 60 foot. The value of that is that we'll be able to park in our backhoe, which is being exposed to elements, as is a lot of the equipment that we spend good money on is exposed to elements because we have nowhere else to park them. And then if it's 60 foot deep, then we would be able to bring all the lawnmowers as well as a whole host of other things that we really need, like coal patch, for example, for potholes in the street, right? So as you saw in the previous pictures, they were just stacked up wherever we could find a space for it. Old motors, new motors, things that we could, put shelving up in order to bring about a more effective turnaround time when it comes to equipment. So give an example, if I had a pump to go out, when I go out for purchase, I could purchase a spare pump and then rebuild a pump. And so therefore I can have a pump on the shelf. What that means to the town is that if we were ever have a pump failure, now it's not lead time of what we were dealing with, the one we had to seek approval for. And what's this going to be, minimum 6 to 8 weeks. And if we needed to rewire a pump, that's still time associated with that. But we could do that and have one on the shelf, and we needed a location to put it. And it's not stepping over stuff to get it. It will be in a cage, it will be locked, it will be secure, and then our asset will be protected.
You actually make those with double doors too. You can get like a double door in the front, double door in the back. You drive right through them. They really work out well. I had one before.
Oh, really? Okay, outstanding. And that's one of the things that we were taking a look on. Unfortunately, unless that's something that you like, we just don't have the real estate for it. So what we were going to put was a 14-foot roll door, and you could roll it up and then park vehicles in there if we needed to park vehicles in there. So what we were talking about here is the expense associated with it. And so total installation, that's ballpark, is around $100K, but we have a lifetime building. And what that means to you is that not only is it a lifetime building, it should be able to, and it's meet all hurricane standards that we would need to meet down here for South Florida weather. And we can customize it, so we can put office space inside of the building, and it would really be a public works facilities building, public works facilities storage building.
Looking at putting this out?
So in the present location of the other, right there behind the community garden. So if we take that space, which is an eyesore, and I agree, and I've been working very hard to remove junk out of there. It's almost every day I go over there to visit and point out something we can throw away, which is a challenge because the minute you throw it away is the minute you need it, and then you have to go buy it again. So I'm very cautious about what I point out to throw away. But with that being said, at the very least, it'd be out of the elements, and that's where our challenge comes into play, that in the vast majority of the times, it's good stuff that we have. You see a couple of lengths of 12-foot lengths of PVC out there, but once it's been weatherized, it's useless now. You see, Now, the average person's not going to come up and steal a piece of PVC, which is the reason why it's still sitting there. It truly doesn't have any value. But in the grand scheme of things, I think we got a couple 12-inch pipes over there. Yeah. So when we have those kind of pipes that are laying out there over time, and the engineers could probably back me up, it's just going to deteriorate over time. If we're going to make that expense, then we probably need to protect our investment. So that's where we are.
What was the width of the building?
I'm sorry?
What was the width of the
30.
building? 30.
30 by 18 by 60. And that pretty much concludes the presentation with that one.
So is that additional storage, or will they be replacing the old one?
It has to replace the old ones because of the pictures that I showed earlier about the dilapidated conditions on it. We're just waiting for that thing to cave in, unfortunately.
Those buildings are falling apart if you haven't been out there.
And it's going to do a great deal. It's going to look better for the town. It will no longer be an eyesore. It'll look like it deserves to be here. And then whatever we need for, like tables, for example. When I think that the mayor likes to give away turkeys or something like that during the holidays.
Don't worry, got an outfit waiting for you.
All right. Make sure it fits. And so it's things like that, to where that we only use once a year. Christmas trees, Christmas decorations, things of that nature that we use once per year. And we can find a decent place for it. Now, obviously, we don't want to inundate it with stuff we don't need, but right now we have an immediate need. And that immediate need is because we're going to start construction here 6 to 8 months on the location for the new police department. And so therefore all that stuff has to go somewhere. Any questions?
So your recommendation is going with the permanent building?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Funding for this?
Under Public Works, we should be able to, and that's something that we want to continue with discussion and find it. But that'll be up to.
This is an item that has to be procured. We have to go through procurement. And we're looking at financing, financial options.
We're looking at areas where we can maybe find it in the budget, but this is something that could be, I believe, allocated. We're talking to Rob, we can allocate it across the various funds.
Okay.
Allocate portions to sewer, stormwater, as well as general fund, as it is for public works. So
Okay.
we'll figure it out.
And maybe even to the loan for the PD, it's part of the construction.
True.
So
Might be a way to do that as well.
Was the building checked for, the standards?
Yes, sir. We wouldn't allow it to come in, and I've already talked to the building official as well as the town planner, and we're all on the same page. It would meet whatever hurricane specifications that we have in play, for gale force winds and engineering and so forth.
Because I know a lot of them don't meet.
Yeah,
that
we
standard.
made sure that this one would meet.
Thank you.
Okay, so your request would be?
To further investigation, to talk to the manager about resources and possibly go out to an engineering firm for a scope of work, put that together.
Direction on that, JC?
Just direction at this point.
That's it.
And allow us
All
to.
right with that?
Yes.
Allow us to move forward to procurement.
To develop it.
Go for it.
All right, thank you.
14.2, award section recommendation of ITB food forest improvements at Ryan Park, FERDAP trail picnic facilities.
Okay. So this is all Miriam, so I'm going to let her speak to you about it.
I can pull it up, Mary.
We have it up for bid, and we received the bids back last Thursday on the 21st. And we had 5 vendors, and the lowest bid was 51,800. Yeah, 800. And the next one was 6901. The third was 82,900. The fourth was 84,555, and the last one was 97,162. Right now, I'm recommending that we award to the lowest bidders. However, I am still reviewing to see why there is such a large gap between the lowest one and the other ones.
Almost a $50,000 difference between the two.
Correct. So when I look at the numbers, it looks like either he forgot a digit or he has a place where he could dispose of the vegetation, because this is where he's only proposing 4,000 and everybody else is between 16 and 20,000. I mean, it can be done if you have a place to dispose. Maybe he doesn't have to go somewhere where he has to pay a fee like the other guys. But in any case, I would like to investigate some more. I haven't been able to get in contact with that vendor. Until I do, then I can't say that it will be the awarded vendor award contract.
Is there any places in the park where the soil could be placed? Like a low spot or washed out area that needs to be filled in or anything like that?
That's a good idea that we always look into. However, it's going to be a whole lot. We will have more than we need. But that's a good idea. We looked into doing that at Behan Park, where we have that area that's always flooding. And
Yeah, because you use it to build it up, you know?
yeah. And we'll look at it again, depending on the type of soil that we are excavating, because we have to make sure that it can be done, it can be reused, I should say.
Yeah, because a big part of the bid is going to be that, you know, it's going to be that removal and where they're going to.
Well, that's up to the contractor where they're going to dispose of.
That's what I mean, but I mean, that's why some of the bids will vary.
Right.
Maybe some contractor has a place to dump it and the other ones don't, you know.
He's the only
like
one,
that,
though.
you know,
Yeah.
so.
Okay, so what are you asking from us?
Go ahead and approve that to award to the lowest bidders, or the next one if the first one doesn't come through.
Did we see the design for that, Mary?
Is there a design?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did we
It,
see
it was. I'm sorry.
Do we have that design?
It is. We submitted it last time when we had the bid submittal. If you want to have a copy, I can.
Yes.
This isn't that pencil drawing, was it?
No, not pencil drawing.
No, there was one that was like a squiggly line, and
That was for the AC elevation.
Okay. I don't remember actually seeing a design for this.
We can get you a design copy, sir.
Yeah, can you send us all independent emails?
Yes.
All right.
This would still have, this is the workshop, so.
Yeah, let's
come
move
back.
this as a line item for next week. Okay, we can discuss it more if need be.
Okay.
Go with 14.3, Police Department Engineering Design Proposal from Calvin and O'Donnell.
Okay.
Mayor, before get started, we've explored several locations for the police department, and ultimately I came back to the original plan, which is here in Town Hall. Obviously, our long-term plans would be to possibly explore. We're looking into possibly a public-private partnership in the future. That's just not something that's done overnight. And I think our best course of action, we already have the loan, and what would get us up and running quicker in a good facility would be this this building. And what you're seeing here is the proposal for the design of said and construction documents, taking us all the way through bidding services, right, and project administration. I would recommend approval of this.
So essentially what we did was is that we went out to Calvin O'Donnell and gave them some guidance as to where we want to do and how we want to put the whole process together, and then came up with this scope. And essentially, it's going to be about $126,000, a little more than $126,000 to put together the full scope and the engineering process for us to move into the police department on the first floor and then be completely accommodated, which will also include a test and balance of the air conditioning systems, which was something that was brought up to make sure that the present system won't have a negative impact on the move, as well as the possibility of adding a separate air conditioning system for the police department and all the checks and balances necessary to produce that. If you go up one more slide, and here are the numbers as it's broke out completely in different tasks and phases. And do you all have a copy? Everyone has a copy? Outstanding. So as you can see in some of the issues, that project management is consistent through, so it won't be something that will, what's the best way to put it? It won't be shooting from the hip. There will be professional management through the whole process. And these are the things that we want to bring to your attention. Task number 2 with ground floor AC elevation. And then task number, where is it? I think it's, go down a little further, where we talk about shop drawings. And that's very important there, and the different prices that are associated and affiliated with those. So when it all comes down to it, this is what they're proposing to do the engineering study, get everything set up and produce drawings for us to go out for bid. I recommend that, I guess we move this forward. We need
Is
to
this,
move project
is this using our previous design that we had, or is this?
What they did is they got our previous design, working off of that, but they looked at it and they're like, hey, we can make it better. So they have an architect that's done work in PDs.
Okay.
Correct? Yeah. And they said, we'll work with this, make it better, get the construction documents done, and even, and move forward and get us all the way through bidding and construction.
Okay.
Yeah.
So recommending go ahead forward
Yes,
with this?
move forward. Yeah, that's what I recommend. Unless the chief has opposition.
No, yeah, I don't have any options, so.
Our hands are a little tied here.
I got it. All right. Put this on consent. Any questions from you guys?
No, I'm good.
Move forward. 14.5 elevators.
Okay.
Like our scary little elevator? Cozy.
Claustrophobic.
Someone hides snacks in there every once in a while.
So while we're bringing it up, so one of the bigger issues that I noticed when I first started working is that the actual certificates inside the elevators were out of date. And I think, as most people, when you get in that thing, you really don't know how it operates. And so I just want to give you some background, a little bit of education about these elevators. There are 4 types of elevators, and you'd be surprised as to the types they are. They're at regular passenger elevators, and then there will be freight elevators, and then you would have commercial type elevators, and then dumb waiters. I don't know if you know what a dumb waiter is, but if you ever stayed in a hotel many years ago, and from my understanding, talking to some of the elevator friends, they still have them in some of the
Old houses.
Yeah. So for the uninitiated, the dumb waiter is the little elevator that brings the food up to the 2nd or 3rd floor, or whatever, laundry, what have you. And then there's 2 different types of mechanisms that operate them. And one is hydraulic and the other is cable. And how those elevators, they need to be inspected. Broward County typically for a very long time, held the inspections on the elevators. And now what they've done is gone to outside or outsourcing the inspection of elevators. And then through those inspections, then they get back to whoever your maintenance agreement is with. And from that maintenance agreement, they're supposed to fix and then turn in those repairs to that outsourced agency, and that agency submits it to the county, and the county issues a certificate. Now, we did have some discrepancies when I first came on board. We have since gotten those discrepancies taken care of, and they have been submitted to Broward County, and we're just waiting for them to send the certificate. Because I came from a background and had a great deal of relationships in the elevator business, I took it upon myself to make sure that we got a fair shake on that. So we contacted the leaders in the elevator industry, which would be TKE, that's ThyssenKrupp, Otis, Schindler, and Kane. And so the presentation would include the offers with those particular. So the pictures that you see here is that it talks about the life expectancy of an elevator, and you can see ours far exceed the average life expectancy of an elevator. Now, not to alarm anyone, our elevators are perfectly safe. We make sure of it, but at the same time, they're aged. And what aged means is that it's difficult to find the necessary parts to fix it if it breaks. And in many cases, the elevator industry is very strong. It's worldwide, obviously. So they have the ability to remanufacture a lot of things, but when you remanufacture parts, then the expense goes up. So modernization is the key. One of the things that we identified was costs associated with elevator maintenance. And this is our present contract at around $374 per month, what we're paying. Now, I talked to Melissa, JC, about the actual contract, and I think we're dialing up less than 2 years left on that contract. And so therefore we can start to take a look at the possibility of moving forward with another organization to manage the maintenance of our elevators. And just as a point of issue is that you have to be licensed to work on the elevator. So no one can just show up and say that I want to work on your elevators. You have to be licensed and bonded and so on and so forth. So some of the things that we're identifying, the type of elevators that we have hydraulic elevators, and typically the cable style elevators are higher than 4 stories typically, but they have certain provisions. You can holes in the grounds for pistons and a variety of different things, but typically we look at those elevators over 4 stories. In this particular case right here, we talked to TKE, which is ThyssenKrupp, and they were able to come in a little cheaper for a maintenance package for us, and I think there's around $300 a month, approximately. Competitive services, with all of them, they all provide the same services because typically they just massage the numbers for their business model. But for the most part, they're union technicians, and they pay them a competitive price range. So it's pretty much the amount of services, which would be something that we would dive into when we had a chance to look at the contract. But here, Schindler made an offer here for their maintenance agreement and what it would cost to actually do the renovations. Here is some information on the various elevator types that we have and the equipment that goes in them. But for the most part, what we want to do is I want to ask the commission, if possible, is just to have a discussion about the potential of modernization for these elevators. Because they're old, and because that over time we need to take a look at what the maintenance cost is going to be for us long term. And if we could just take into consideration for renovation. And I spoke to Harry and JC about it, and we might be able to have some funding for the elevators as well.
This cost, I personally like the stairs.
This item was or is included, correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, in the town hall hardening project.
The old one, 2018.
They didn't approve it, and the line. Okay, I thought I stand correct.
They didn't consider the elevator to be
Okay, so what's your, what are you asking for?
So further discussion, but if the town commission approves, we need to take a hard look at modernizing our elevator.
What we would have to do is go out to bid, obviously do the proper procurement. This is at this price, go out to bid, publicly advertise, accept bids. They would all, resubmit, their bids and then speak to, and provide to you, if we do decide to go this way, provide to you a recommendation as to who we want to go with moving forward as far as maintenance, and then also how we're going to fund it, how we're going to pay for it.
Okay.
My recommendation is to allow us to get bids. I mean, go out and publicly advertise.
Formal bids.
Formal bids. This exceeds the way exceeds the threshold for just, getting, bids. We have to publicly advertise and go through the formal process. So that would be my recommendation. If the funding does not work, if it doesn't work, I'm not even going to bring it to you, or I won't. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
So we're going to be using the stairs?
Well, no. The elevator still works. But
Not against the stairs.
Yeah, I have not.
Has health benefits as well.
Yeah, nothing against the stairs.
Anyways, okay.
But allow us to just continue moving forward.
Let's put that on consent for them.
So really, right now, what we need is consensus, like we did on everything else, to
Direction?
go get the.
Okay.
Or,
You
the-
guys
the
okay with
process.
direction?
Yeah,
The
I'm fine
process.
with that.
Okay. Go for direction.
Yeah, and this was, this here, and just want to bring it to the commission's attention. This was something that I identified immediately when I got on the thing the very first time.
I was in the elevator with you, I remember.
Yeah, so, immediately, I decided to go full blast on this one, and within a day, I was able to get some people I was working with to give me a ballpark. And then the holdup has been the rest of the companies, to be able to bring them in the fold and to find out exactly what the truth is for modernization of the elevators. But there's no safety concerns. It works. It's been inspected. There's no problems associated. You can get in the elevator. But if you notice, that elevator holds two people. Where have you ever been where an elevator holds two people?
Europe. I was going to say, it's like being in a small
Never been to Europe.
Paris.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Are there any more questions?
Nothing, you're costing us a lot of money.
I am indeed. I apologize.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Town clerk. To 15.1, Department of Elections Agreement.
This is the standard agreement that the town has to sign on a yearly basis, just to basically state that we're going to be having an election and that the Broward County Elections Department supports us and the whole system of it.
Questions? No?
What's that?
Yep. Jump back. It takes me a second to get back when we get down this steep. Okay. Discussion on workshop commission meeting. Cancel the workshop commission meeting Wednesday, November 24th, and move workshop commission meeting to December 1st.
The reason being, that's the day before Thanksgiving, and I was just wondering we were wondering if that's something the commission would consider.
B?
B would consider.
B.
Well, that was put on by you know who, but I'm just throwing it out there.
I don't have a problem with it.
Actually, there is one issue, and that would be you, Mr. Mayor. Because since it's December 1st, and possibly you may not have that day off. So I
have
was
no idea
using-
yet, so
Right, so
it's
I was kind of using
too
that
far in
data as a-
advance.
Right, so I was kind of using that data as a holding place, if that's okay with everyone.
Figure it out.
And we could do it the Tuesday before that Wednesday, too, the last day in November.
Look at the calendar.
Can't do it the Monday because we're having, I think, the charter review. I can't remember when we're doing charter review. That Monday is charter.
The 29th.
29th, or the Monday is charter, and then that would be a Tuesday, and
Well, if it's okay with the commission, what we'd like to do is just change the date, but we'll let you guys know as soon as we know what the mayor's schedule is like.
Okay.
Is that okay? Is that okay? Okay. And I did want to also bring to your attention that then the December meeting that we're having, that we changed from December 8th to December 15th, we will be having the meeting at 7 o'clock, the regular meeting. And then if we were to need the workshop, that workshop would take place at 5.
Fine.
To give everybody enough time. Okay, if needed. Okay, so we got that done. For the next commission meeting, I'm also going to provide all of you with the standard holiday list and the workshop and regular commission list that I do every year. So you'll be getting that as well for consent. And the last one is the one that you asked for, which is to discuss the luncheon.
Here, we do a holiday luncheon. We just, myself and Joy have to go out and get a location and put a date together. So we're just letting everyone know that we're gonna proceed forward with getting a date, time, and location, since we do not have one as of right now.
We can put it on the consent for the next meeting.
We'll have, hopefully, by next meeting, we'll have we can do that, Joy? Yeah, I think so too. We'll have a location, date, and time for the next meeting. Great. Good? Okay. All right. Anderson. 6.1, ordinance, reading, town department directors.
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Clerk Commissioner, this ordinance came as a result of the personnel matter that was addressed at the last commission meeting. And the commissioners talking about, not having to do that in public anymore, and letting me handle it, and what this ordinance and get into the details of it, this is what that will accomplish, allowing the department heads, certain department heads, to report directly to me, and I can handle it. I handle everything internally.
And additionally, this is part of, not only does this specifically need to be done, but this is part of my effort in cleaning up the code. It was kind of the next one to be done. It's very early in the code. It's in Chapter 2. And also, there are all sorts of, there's a position mentioned that doesn't exist, the Administrative Services Director. So that whole section had to be revamped and revised and rewritten. And that's what I've done in conjunction with JC and HR and anybody else who's affected. So you'll see that on the next agenda. It will be the first reading.
I'm missing the ordinance in here. Did you guys upload it?
I sent it to Marlene. I don't know if it got on.
Have the Pembroke Park renewal of consulting agreement.
I don't think it got onto the agenda, so my apologies. So that this won't be the first reading because it's not on, but it'll be on for next time. So you just got an advance.
I'll send it to everyone after the meeting.
Okay.
It's still going to be first reading next
No,
time.
no, I know,
Yeah.
I know.
That's it?
All right. And for a line item for next meeting.
Yep.
Number 17, town manager.
Yes, as you know, this contract, Tidewater, for some reason, that contract always expires like towards the end of the year. And just like we did with the other lobbyists that we have, I wanted to extend this one an extra year. This year, as you know, they open up the Tallahassee again, and people are going to be going in, and I can get a better assessment on how the lobbyist team works. And so I wanted to extend it another year.
Okay, anyone have an issue with that? Consent, please. Old business. Or town manager, you have anything else? Old business. New business. Discussion. Couple things for discussion. 20.1 employee benefits. I put this one on here as I've had multiple staff come and talk to me regarding benefits. I had a meeting with the town manager today regarding benefits as well. Some people are not happy with our health benefits. Some people aren't happy with our dental benefits. Some people aren't happy just because they're not happy. We have mental health benefits. We do. They're in there as well. So please look into those. When it comes to the benefits, prior to Ray and I coming on to the commission, your benefits were very stagnant year to year. Nothing ever changed. The benefits just were what it was. From what I was told, the previous town managers never wanted to go out and look into these benefits or change anything. So over time, these benefits, the expense of these medical benefits and stuff go up. And unless you're going out every year and trying to find, for the town, the better benefit, it benefits the employee and benefits the town. And you got to find that balance. And coming here, JC will attest to, and JC, I'm putting you on the spot for this one, because he was paying the ridiculous amount of insurance for your family, along with your insurance here. I believe we were like $1,600 or $1,800 a month. It was a lot for medical insurance. So what I've done, and I was the one that brought this forward with Yolanda, Gloria, and I believe JC was with us, right?
At that time, yeah.
Yep, we all sat down, and I forced everyone to come together to redo our benefits. That one took care of the employee, took care of the employee's family, and come up with the best benefit package that we could afford within the realm of what we were paying for insurance. We still have to pass the headline test. We can't give everything away for nothing. And so we came to an understanding. I didn't get exactly what I wanted. I had to negotiate down with Harry a little bit, but we made it work. So I assure you, while I'm here, you're going to have the best benefits we can get. And every single year is open enrollment. Every year we will go out to bid for those benefits to find the best package that we can get for this town. It saves the town and saves everyone else. I also want to say, if when it comes to the medical benefits, if you don't like the family coverage that we have, you can always just take the
Single family, the single employer.
Single employer only, or single employee?
Yeah, the employee coverage only.
Yeah, single employee coverage only is always an option. Or the second thing you can do is go to healthcare.gov, and I highly recommend all staff do this. Spend the hour or 2 hours or 5 hours it takes to go through that website and find out how much the insurance would cost you. Your eyes will bug out when you finally get to that actual number to find out how expensive healthcare is and how good you have it here in the town now for family coverage for insurance. There's always options out there. I want everyone to do what's best for them. So if you don't like the coverage that we're providing, you don't have to take it. It's a benefit. But once you go out to healthcare.gov and you start looking for yourself, you'll find out how expensive these benefits are. You can take these concerns always to HR, to JC, or myself. We always look into everything. But this is benefits. And while I'm here, I'm going to keep making sure we have the best benefits we can possibly get every single year that's within the means of the town. That's all I have on that one. Then I have one more item, 20.2. It says Directors, Department Heads, Performance Evaluations, and Expectations. So, a little about me. You guys understand I have a work ethic that's nearly unmatched. I work a ridiculous amount of hours for the town and in my professional career as an airline pilot. My life is pretty much dedicated to this. I give up my weekends, nights. I give up vacation to go deal with things for the town. I'm always there. And I don't expect anyone else to have the same work ethic I have. I really don't. But when you're a salaried employee in the town, there are times when challenges come up and you need to work. You're expected to at least maintain a 40-hour work week, if not more. There are times you're going to have to work and put in those 50 hours, those 60 hours. Those long weeks are horrible. I know, because I average about 70 hours a work week, if not more. And I know how hard it is, because I have a family. You guys all know my kids. They know me from time to time, so they show up at meetings there at town hall with me, you know. So I don't expect you guys to work like I do, but I expect you to put in the effort when it's needed. And right now, we're coming down to the deadline on our police department. We have a finish line, and it's going to require everyone involved to work extra hours to make sure those tasks are completed. So when we launch, there's no issue. It's going to take time and effort. Another thing, I kind of want everyone to know a little about me. I don't associate with anyone outside of town. I didn't come here to make friends. I have my own friends. But I'm here to work. I'm here to do a job. And I expect the same out of the directors that are here and the staff that's here. I expect professionalism out of you. If I don't like you, there's a good chance you will never know that, because I'm here to do a job. And if Chief Croker, I'm going to use you as an example, and it's not, I don't like you, I really like you. You're a good person. But if I didn't, I still work with her, and I communicate with her, and I get the job done. You know, and I expect the same out of you guys when it comes to that. You got personality conflicts among each other, put them aside. You got a job to do. And if you can't put those aside, you got to find something else, because Pembroke Park isn't a good fit for you. When I got here, this was the most toxic environment I've ever come into. This town was horrible. Mismanaged, poor leadership. This town was a mess. And we've been building over the last 2.5 years to get where we're at today. And now look at where we're at. I think the town's pretty successful. We've made a lot of progress now, and I want to see this continue. But I don't want toxicity to take over the town, and we seem to get that every once in a while. From my directors, and from our directors, I shall say, I expect that professionalism from every single one of you, and to end that toxicity in this town. The only way it's going to grow is it all comes down on you. From the manager on down, you guys need to work, lead your crew, and keep them positive. That's the only way we're going to make it as a town. You know, again, 2.5 years ago, most of you that were here remember how bad it was. Some of you that are new are learning how bad it was. But this was not a great place to be. And if I was smart, I would have turned away and ran as soon as I realized how bad it was. But sometimes I'm just not that smart. And he's stuck here with me too, so it's been challenging. But I really want everyone working together. You know, there's personality conflicts. There's people that don't like each other. I understand. I don't like everyone I fly with, but guess what? I go to work every day. I sit in that little tiny cockpit with them, and I fly with them, and I get through the day. We got a job to do, so let's all do it. And I expect the same out of you here in the town. So that's all I have on that. Let's move on to all the events, and I'm going to have Joy come up here because we have quite a bit coming on here. Events and training opportunities. JC and I and Joy here, we've all been dealing with Feeding South Florida numerous times. They're the ones who helped us all through COVID with our food trucks and everything else. But they put on a couple very good programs, and I'm going to pull them up here. I don't know if you have these in there, Marlon. And I post these on my my political Facebook page. I try to get them shared everywhere I possibly can. Feeding South Florida has some training programs they actually put together that are free. One is a 5-week warehousing program. It will take someone with no experience whatsoever, help them through a warehousing training program, and they have interviews set up for them at the end. They can't guarantee employment, but they will take you all the way through the process of learning warehousing to get you the point to help get you hired. I think that's a phenomenal program, and that's here in our town, guys. So if you know anyone and you come across anyone that's looking for work, this will help them get their foot in the door. Feeding South Florida also does another one that's really cool. It's their culinary training program. It's a 12-week program. It's up at their Boynton Beach facility. Again, this is a free program. All they have to do is apply. The requirements are listed in here. And it's right on the Feeding South Florida website. Again, if you know anyone interested in the culinary arts and a way to get their foot in the door, this is definitely a way to go. And education's so expensive, I can tell you after multiple degrees, and I won't even go into aviation training how expensive that is. So, but this is great. So if you know anyone, please forward it on to them or have them get on the website. Sheriff, you guys too, if you know anyone. All right, thank you. We are going to have our Thanksgiving, our turkey drive again. We're going to do it as a drive-through like we did last time. It's going to be on November 11th. No.
November the 22nd. That's a Monday. They haven't.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I looked at November 11th as registration. I'll let you explain this one, Joy. Go for it.
Good evening, Town Mayor, Vice Mayor, Clerk Commissioner Joy Brown, Town Events Coordinator, Police Chief Assistant, and the Commission Assistant.
Anything else? You forgot Mother.
I am a mother and a grandmother.
Here you go.
We're hosting our 20th annual Thanksgiving drive-through basket Bridget that will be held on Monday, November the 22nd from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. This is an annual event that we do every year for our residents in the town of Pembroke Park. So we will be giving out these flyers on Friday, this upcoming Friday, to our event that I will discuss again for Friday. So our residents that attend the event, they can start registering for the turkey giveaway. Also, I'm going to try to team up with Chen Medical Senior Center to see if they can give us a few vouchers as well to move forward with our turkey drive to help out. Okay.
And I heard some good news earlier today. JC, how many people do we have on our?
Deidre informed me today that we have about
Everbridge.
2,500, 2,600.
On Everbridge.
That means we get to save some shoe leather.
Absolutely. Yeah, because I do walk door to door with these flyers along with my commissioners that do door to door, walking out, passing out
Everyone
these
thinks my
flyers.
wife has something to do with the town because that's all they remember when we go door to door is my wife and the kids going door to door putting these flyers out. I'm right there with them and they have no clue who I am. They always, oh, we know the pretty blonde lady that comes around. I'm right there with her, but they never see me, so I don't know. But again, registration is by November 11th. Please get these out to your residents, and Joy will provide you with a stack of copies that you can go walk through your neighborhoods and meet your neighbors.
It's just a few minor changes on here.
Okay.
I'll make the changes on here because Commissioner DeVille is now the vice mayor, and we have Clerk Commissioner Bill Hawkins. Okay.
Right.
That's that for that event. But this upcoming Friday, we do have our first annual Music Fall Festival, and I think it's going to be fun. So I would like to invite the commissioners to come out to support this event because it's the first annual. We'll have Chico DeVirgo here being our MC. We'll have live bands. We'll have food trucks, the whole shebang. And also we'll have a doctor to come out from Chan Medical Center to talk about breast cancer awareness because this is the last week for breast cancer awareness. And also you guys know that it's domestic violence for the month of October as well. So
I'm gonna step in real quick.
Okay.
Sorry. JC, I'd like you to be there, along with the commissioners. Both be there, please.
I was planning on being there.
Unfortunately, I will be flying, and I'm trying to amend my schedule. She knows I'm on it to see if I can amend my schedule to make sure I'm there. But as it stands this moment right now, I'm not going to make it. So, but as soon as I know, I'll let you guys know too. But if you guys could please make it, this is it's going to be a nice event for the town.
Send
Joy's
Chico.
put a lot of work in it.
We'll send Chico your regards.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Also, that being said, we got our first special events permit, so we're legal to host our event in the park. So this was the ever first time that the town of Pembroke Park got a special event permit for our event. Thank you, everybody, for all your support for getting this permit that will be posted over there that we can have our event.
Very
Nice.
proud.
Okay, so that was great. Michelle loved it because this was her first time processing a special events request.
How many years has Michelle been here? Exactly.
Okay.
All
So
right.
this was the very first one, so I'm happy of that. And also for the event parking for the sheriff's office, Culinary, they agreed for us to use that field, that parking, so we can use that parking, space for parking. And also, we'll be opening up that gate, Miriam, that's in the park. That we'll be using that gate that they can walk through instead of walking on the street on 48. They can park in that field and just walk right through the park, so for their protection as well.
Perfect.
Also Peninsula offered their parking because we don't want a lot of parking all on the streets because Chico DeVirgo, he carries his crew and they follow him. Okay. That's it for that event. So it should be nice. The food trucks are nice. They'll be here at 2:30, 2 o'clock to 2:30 to get inspected by our fire department.
How many food trucks? How
Yes,
many
sir?
food trucks?
We have 4, and plus we have the juice young lady that will be here as well. We have kosher hot dogs that will be here as well, and we also have a vegan truck that will be here as well, and a lot of barbecue and a lot of conch salad. You know, I tried to find some other sorts of food, but the next event we'll have some different flavors moving forward. But I think everyone will like this event, and hopefully we can continue having this event in the town of Pembroke Park because it will rebrand the town of Pembroke Park because you have people from Hialeah calling, asking to come to your event, to your town. So this would be great, okay? We have another event here. Mayor Jacobs, I don't know if you work in collaboration with
Yeah,
West
this
Park.
is with in collaboration with Joy Smith. She is you guys are gonna love this. Commissioner from West Park. So, it's also with Team Community First. They're gonna put a mental health check and awareness, an event on Saturday, November 6th from 11 to 3 over here in our park. This also is with Chevron Jones and Alexander Davis. I just slipped my mind at
The
the moment.
commissioner
I'm staring at her
of
photo right now.
I saw her today.
Okay, and from Miramar, and so this is a good event that we're gonna have over here at the park on November 6th from 11 to 3. We'll just need some help from the parks guys with tents, I believe.
Tents, yes, sir. And
Tents.
tables and chairs. And also along with this event, they will be doing the vaccination. So Florida Department of Health will
Right.
be here to do vaccinations as well.
That's the other thing. They're gonna do another vaccination station here in the town as well.
Would it be COVID or flu or?
COVID.
For the COVID vaccination, yes, sir.
Any questions on that, guys?
No.
This
No,
flyer
sounds good.
actually is the flyer, but
Yes.
it's only,
That's the one I didn't have.
I guess it's kind of. Joy, what happened?
Not centered?
Going the wrong direction.
For November 6th.
November 11th.
Oh, no, in my event for the basket, Bridget? Okay, we can change that to November the 12th when we get back.
Okay, you
For
gonna
the
change
turkey,
that on the
yes,
flyer then?
I will.
All right.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
By what I missed, what's the limit?
It's for the turkey sign up.
Veterans Day.
For the basket, yeah.
Oh,
And it's Veterans Day. Sorry,
here we
guys.
go. We need to start doing something for Veterans Day around here too.
Okay.
Good idea.
We'll work on that for next year. All right, Rob, you and I, we'll put something together.
Okay.
All right. Anything else, Joy, for events?
That's it for the events. I just want to say thank you to the commission for giving me the opportunity to move to the police department to learn different things. There's a lot of work there in the police department, and I just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to doing that. And I also want to thank Chief Howard. Come on up.
Put him on the spot.
I want to say thank you to Chief Howard for nominating me to the Broward Police Chief Association as the Civilian of the Year, and we won that for the town of Pembroke Park. And I would like to say thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And it's an honor working for Chief Howard. And I thank you.
Wait, Chief, while you're up there, I saw a brand new police car out front.
You like that?
Yeah, you want to tell us a little bit about it?
I was going to park it over by Chief Coker's new station. I actually took a picture of it today down by the courthouse, surrounded by PSO cars. And it was the only white car in there with Pembroke Park on it. So.
I'll tell you from the meeting we had yesterday with the mayors and the sheriff's department, it got a lot of attention sitting out in the parking lot there. So everyone liked it. Everyone had to come over and take their 2 seconds to check it out and see how it was coming along. So,
Vice Mayor, to answer your question, I think we got it yesterday. The rest of them, well, that was the first one we got. The rest of them come November 1st. November 2nd. And that's what the car looks like. Dodge Chargers.
Buy out a seat.
Total of 11. 11 new ones. Total of 11 new ones coming in.
Right. Are we going to do something with the fencing to barricade them in here?
That's another thing that we're working on, absolutely.
Embarrassing, just looking at it.
Secure it. We've already identified where we're going to be parking them, while we have them, while we wait.
all right.
Take me on a test drive.
Thank you.
All right. Attorney comments.
None.
Sure.
Well, I was going to talk about
See, I knew
progressive.
something was coming.
I was going to talk about progressive, but JC gave me the opportunity to do that at the beginning of the meeting because
Okay.
you've seen some big bills. We're settling it, and that should be covered. That's all I'm going to say.
The reason I did is because I needed to take up her time.
Well, now it's your time.
Yeah. A couple of things. Dave Segerson is here. This year, the state legislature, as you know, every year we submit projects. They're asking us a question, and that's how are we going to spend? How do we plan on spending the ARPA funds, the American Rescue Plan Act funds from the federal government? And I wanted to just kind of get consensus because based on the guidelines that's submitted by the federal government and based on what we're seeing from Keith and Associates regarding the Southwest 30th Avenue, I was hoping that we can at least come to get some consensus that we want to at least use a portion of that fund, if not all of it, towards that project, and also possibly funding
Amnesty.
in the amnesty program.
I would like to see it used for the amnesty and that project as well, and any other thing that we need to get shovel ready that we can go out and find other funds for. I did find that one, the no match funds, 1.5 billion. That's going to move pretty quick, but we got to have those shovel ready projects to even apply for it. So we need to get things shovel ready around here so we can actually make some progress. Did you want to come up and say something? More than welcome to. Gonna come hand out turkeys with us?
Can I get one?
Yeah.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. Yeah, actually, I talked to the team today, and really and you've already pretty much done it, but in your just brief discussion. We think we can fill out the form. The Senate form asks a specific question: how do you plan to spend the money? I think that by this discussion, we can easily just say, in general, that the town plans to spend the money on infrastructure. There's actually four general categories that you can spend money on. And so by identifying, by identifying that you're going to spend the money on infrastructure, I think that will be sufficient for at least the initial purposes of the form. that we have to file with the Senate. We actually don't have a deadline, but I'm getting nervous. We're getting sort of deeper in the process, and so we would really want to get these forms filed. The House actually does have a deadline. I believe it is November 17th, but because of the process of how these forms have to be transferred and entered by hand by the legislative assistant for in this case, Representative Woodson's office, we, as a courtesy to them and try to work with them, want to get the form to them at least by the 8th of November, or whatever other forms that we're gonna file. Which also brings me to another thing that JC and I have talked about, and I don't.
Yeah, go ahead. I was gonna bring that up next.
We're planning to have at least the two of you come to Tallahassee, and I talked with Dee and Connie, excuse me, and what we feel is would be the best or the most effective is to have you all come up as early in the process as possible, and that really boils down to really there's really only 3 weeks. The last interim committee week, which is the week of November 29th through December 3rd or 4th, the first week of session, which is the week of January 11th, and the second week of session. Now, the second week of session is problematic because that's when Broward Days is, as you know, Mayor. So that really, by process of elimination, gives you one of those 2 first weeks that I mentioned to think about. And my recommendation, and Dee and Connie agreed with me, that the actual schedule should be a Monday evening fly-in, whichever week you pick, a Monday evening fly-in that'll give us all day Tuesday. That's sort of the best day to have meetings and so forth, and Wednesday, and you could leave Wednesday night. And that
We sat down and discussed that this morning as well, so.
And so we're January 10th, that week of January 10th.
That's actually the 10th.
That will, I guess that's what we'll plan for.
Make sure that happens.
Okay. All right. You said you want to do the first week of session. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's great because that gives us some time to
Got it
work
to
on it. Yeah.
pin in now, and we'll make it happen.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, and the other thing that Dave and I spoke about, and this is actually something that Senator Jones mentioned in his meeting with mayors and managers. We have to narrow our priorities down to 3. We'll have to be ready to do that. And what I'm asking you is for allowing me the authority or the latitude to make that call. I still work with Dave, depending on what we're hearing in Tallahassee. You never know how it's going to go, how legislative. It's always constantly moving. And depending on who we're meeting, allow me the latitude to try to push different projects, depending if we feel that there's a good chance that we can get some funding in there. Utilizing the list that you guys have already previously approved, I'm not going to add anything else to it, but be able to narrow that down into 3 or 4 that we can play with over there in Tallahassee. So I wanted to do that, and I'll work with Dave in order to do that if that's okay with you guys.
All right with that?
I was fine with that.
Yeah, because we're kind of getting down to the wire, and decisions are going to have to be made. I think you JC told me about the meeting that you had with Senator Jones, and really I think what they're saying is, and Representative Woodson said the same thing last year, and I'm sure she's going to have the same policy this year. She doesn't want to have more than 3 projects submitted to her office from any one source, and so. And the reality is that we know that no one town or city or entity is going to get more than 1 project anyway. I won't take up a lot of your time discussing the sort of the ins and outs of how this plays into the federal money that's pouring into the state, and the likelihood that maybe more will be coming in with the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure package, and then whatever comes from whatever it is they end up doing with the other, I guess, human human resources infrastructure package. The legislature is going to be, I don't know what the right word is, maybe picky about what they decide to fund and what they don't decide to fund, knowing that all this money has come in from the Fed. So that's sort of where we're at. And I think that the flexibility, like as an example, and JC and I've talked about this, but sort of briefly, is that you could take some money and put it into an existing legislative budget request that we have. As an example, the Septic to Sewer project, which is both the subject of a grant request from the state, which we have not heard back from yet, and we are to be, knowing how important this is, we're sort of triple playing it here. We're going to submit it as a legislative budget request based upon the discussions that we had. I think there was a consensus, at least, maybe I'm wrong, but I believe there was a consensus that this was the most important project to get this project done or to get it started and so forth. So, but we could also make that project more attractive by adding some of the ARPA funds to the town's contribution, which is $250,000 now. But those are things that I think JC and Harry and others will try to talk about in the coming week, because we need to make some decisions pretty quickly. Anyway, so that's, unless you have some questions.
Happen to see our PowerPoint presentation from our public services director on the lift stations?
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
Yeah, I know. No, it's clear that this is the key to the future. There's no question about that.
Have any questions?
No. The last thing I wanted to mention, Mayor.
Wait a second. You've exhausted your resources here.
No, just last thing.
Okay.
And I wanted to say this as I was watching, the staff come up, give their presentations, BSO, everybody, and you look at this agenda, and I've heard, a collective sigh up there. You'll see some of the price tags that some of these projects have, and I just wanted to point out that's progress. We're moving
Wasn't
forward.
a sigh. Those are straight tears right now.
Yes. We're no longer talking about things. We are moving forward. I do want to thank the staff because when I see them come up one by one and they give their presentation, I'm proud. I'm proud to be their manager. Yeah, we have our issues, Mayor, and I agree with you 100%. With what you said. But I'm proud of them. I'm proud to be their manager. They are, professional. We have some things that we got to tweak on, right? But I'm absolutely proud. And just seeing how this meeting unfolded today, I am extremely proud. So that's all I wanted to say.
A long way, JC.
Yep.
But I do have a question regarding the funding.
Sure.
What are the categories that you mentioned where we could spend the funds?
Oh, there's a number of, as far as the ARPA funds.
Yeah.
What I'll do.
There's a whole
Vice Mayor,
booklet that goes with it.
What I'll do is I can forward you the guidelines from the federal government, but basically what they've narrowed it down to, they talk about broadband technology, infrastructure, which our sewer system is. They've talked about.
There's 4 major categories that they reference. One is infrastructure. The second would be lost revenue. There's a calculation. They can determine if you have any lost revenue. You can calculate and try to allocate some money for that. Third is any COVID-19 related expenses, direct expenses related to COVID. And the fourth would be reimbursement, or terminalized reimbursement or additional funding for providers, whether they be police, fire, rescue, or nurses and stuff like that. So those are the 4 major categories where the ARPA funds can be used.
And in the infrastructure, they include broadband, sanitary sewer, things like that.
All right, so if I wanted to, maybe a portion of it to help our residents directly, like let's say somebody's behind on their light bill, or?
Create some type of fund
right,
or something.
I don't recall seeing anything, I mean, definitely could look into it. I don't recall seeing anything that's related to financial hardship. One of the things I did note is, what and we did discuss earlier, is possibly using some of the money for the amnesty program, where, I mean, they clearly, it does state where you could help you could help the community by infusing money to help I guess, almost the infrastructure, so to speak, of the town, so.
Reading out of it is we could use it for possible things like engineering costs, to help with the engineering costs, stuff like that for people that have all these violations. And isn't that right, Lucy?
That's part of the thought process, to allocate some, well, part of the, I'll almost steal Miguel's thunder, but I believe some of the monies that we would possibly use for the amnesty program would help offset, would be for that, for the engineering costs associated to find out what these issues are. Normally, that would be a cost that the residents would have to pay, but part of the program that Miguel's working on is to incorporate those fees where the town would absorb those costs.
The amnesty program itself is not to help the town, it's actually to help the residents.
But I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I get that. I just wanted to help.
Yeah, I know what you're asking, and what we can do is look into it. We can ask the question. The worst they can tell us is no, right? So we'll look into it and see what we can do. All right, because if we can separate a little bit of money and kind of help some people, some of our residents, that'd be great.
All right, is that it, JC?
That's it, I'm done. Yeah, I'm done.
Positive.
Wait, one more thing.
Going once. All right. Commissioner comments. Clerk Commissioner.
I'm hungry.
My wife just texted me
so
dinner's
am I.
ready, so.
I'm hungry.
Vice Mayor.
Done. Go for it.
Okay, I have no comments, so I'll move to announcements because we have a couple. Fall music event will be Friday, October 29th from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. The regular commission meeting will be Wednesday, November 10th, 2021 at 7 p.m. The Thanksgiving event will be on the 20th annual Basket Brigade. Will be Monday, November 22nd, 2021 at 5 to 8 p.m. Workshop meeting will be Wednesday, November 24th, 2021 at 6 p.m. It might possibly change to December 1st. Workshop meeting will be Wednesday, December 15th at 5 p.m. That's possible if we don't have to have the workshop. We will just have the regular commission meeting on Wednesday, December 15th at 7 p.m. Questions? Sounds good. Everyone's favorite? Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
8:40 p.m. If you weren't looking, you weren't prepared. I was looking.
Come a long way.
Yep.
A year that I've been here.